Hi, for this video what I want to do is show you how to find the variance and standard deviation using a free online graphing calculator called ClassCalc. The URL is just classcalc.com/graphing calculator. I will show it to you in just one second. These formulas are already programmed in the calculator, but in order to find the variance by hand, if you wanted to do the hand calculations, you would first have to find the mean. So if you recall, mu is the population mean, which is found by finding the sum of all the values divided by the number of terms in that population. So then you would have to take each of the individual values, subtract the mean from there, and if the mean isn't a nice, concise value, it's an ugly decimal, you cannot round in this entire process, so you would have to make sure that you keep the mean to however many decimal places that it has. Then you would have to square each of those deviations, then find the sum of the square of the deviations and divide by the number of terms. So it is something that does take quite a bit of time to do by hand. From there, to find the standard deviation, you just find the square root of the variance. Okay, in a sample standard deviation, the key difference is that instead of dividing by the entire values that is in the population, the sample standard deviation divides by the number of terms minus 1. And the reason we do this is because if I divide by a smaller number, it does increase the output. So the sample standard deviation will always be slightly larger than the population standard deviation because you're dividing by a smaller number. Every single sample is going to be slightly different from the population as far as the results go, and so to control for that variability, we do divide by n minus 1. X bar, if you recall, just means the sample mean, and it's found the same way. It's just the sum of all the values divided by the number in the sample. We use a capital N, or at least some textbooks use a capital N for the population, the number in the population, and the lowercase n represents the number in the sample. Not all textbooks do that, so if it looks a little bit different in your textbook, that is okay. So what we're going to do is we're going to use this data set here, 41, 39, 45, 47, 42, 44, 41, 43, and 44. And we're going to find the variance and the standard deviation, both for a population and a sample. In your homework questions, it's going to tell you find the population variance, find the population standard deviation, or it's going to say find the sample variance, find the sample standard deviation. So it's really, really important that you read through carefully when you're solving and seeing, does it ask for population or does it ask for sample, because the results will be different. If you put in the sample variance and they were asking for the population variance, it will be considered incorrect. Okay, so like I said, the calculator will do this for us. All you have to do is type in the data values. So let me go ahead and pull up the calculator. Like I said, the URL is classcalc.com/graphing-calculator. It is completely free to use. There's also an app for your smartphone that looks very much the same. I have already gone and entered the data into a list, but in order to do that, let me just show you how to find it. I just do plus. I use the table instead of the list. You can use the list and separate them all with commas. So I could do 41, 38, 39, or to me, it's easier just to do the table, and then you would just start typing. Okay, I'm not going to continue. I just put in the values and then hit enter afterwards. Since I've already typed in the entire list for us, what I want to do now is go in and find both the variance and the standard deviation. This is extremely simple. All you have to do is click Stat, and then to find the variance, I click on Variance, and then it's going to ask you for what are you finding the data set for. So I would type in the X1 because X1 is the name of the table heading. So this is our column heading for our table. So X1 is the values that I put in there. And we do see that the population variance is 6.84 and the sample variance is 7.6. Okay, so that's all you have to do. It automatically did all of those calculations for you. It first went through and added up all these values and divided by, there was 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. to get the mean, and then it individually subtracted 41 minus the mean 38 minus the mean 39, etc. Added up all those sums of the deviations and divided by 10, and this is the output. Okay, so it's very, very simple. All you have to do, again, is go in and hit stat, find variance, and then type in where your data is. I could have also typed the data in there with commas. I just find it easier to use tables. Okay, now let's find the standard deviation. It's the same concept. I hit stat, and then I just find standard deviation and type in x1 because that is the column where I have all of my data, and it will automatically find the standard deviation, which is the square root of this. So I could have also typed in, if I wanted to, I could come in and type in the square root of 6.84 just to show you that it is doing that. It does take it out more decimal places if I find the square root, but typically with standard deviation, they're going to have you round anywhere from 2 to 5 decimal places. I typically round to 3 decimal places, but it doesn't really matter. There's no exact answer. Just be very careful, especially if you're working in an online homework platform, to make sure that you are rounding to whatever decimal places. So I'm going to round to 3 decimal places. So for the population, it's 2.615, and for the standard deviation, it's 2.757. Okay, so like I said, they're not going to ask for both in the same problem. What they are going to do is they are going to explicitly tell you whether you should be finding the population or the sample. So read very carefully. It is important to know the symbols. I did not write it up above, but this is read as sigma. This is the lowercase letter for S in the Greek alphabet. The uppercase letter for S is this sigma up here. This always means summation in statistics. The lowercase one always means population standard deviation. If it's squared, then it's the population variance. As always, thanks for watching. If you have any questions, please let me know. If there are additional topics that you would like me to cover, please let me know that as well.